7.3c, solve linear equations fractions. Okay, so this is a pretty cool trick where we actually are going to do something to an equation with a bunch of fractions. And what we do is going to make those fractions disappear. It's going to keep everything equal, but it's really a great way to deal with equations because I just feel like it makes it easier because there's not a whole bunch of fractions around to kind of have to work with. So we'll start to take some notes here. We want to clear the fractions by multiplying by the least common denominator or the least common multiple. We're going to do the whole thing times whatever that is. We want to be sure to multiply each term on both sides of the equal sign. So let's look at an example here. I'm going to clear these and scroll my page up so I have lots of room to write on here. So I have this thing, right? This equation, and it's got 3 fractions in it plus a variable. And it looks really intimidating, but I promise you it's not. And you totally have the information to know how to do this. So I'm going to look at the first thing I'm going to do is look at that 4, the 2, and the 6 and think to myself, excuse me, what's a number that all 3 of those can go into evenly? And if I was going to change them all to have the same denominator, what would I change it to? Well, it would be 12. 4 goes into 12, 2 goes into 12, and 6 goes into 12. But instead of like taking all of them and kind of coming down here and saying like, oh, 3/4 equals 12 and putting 12 on the bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to times this whole thing by that 12, and I'm going to come over here and kind of do that math. So instead of changing them into fractions, fractions with the same denominator, I'm going to eliminate the fractions by multiplying. So 3/4 times 12 over 1, I can cross cancel, that's 1. So this one's going to equal 9. I'm going to take that 1/2 times 12. Again, I can cross cancel. That's going to be 6. And then 5/6 times 12. Can cross cancel. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. So then I'm going to come back over and rewrite my problem. Instead of 3/4, I'm going to say 9. The x stays the same. Minus, instead of 1/2, I'm going to say 6. And that equals, instead of 5/6, it equals 10. So I've kept all the ratios the same. These are still the same kind of the same amount apart as the fractions are. We're just looking at them as whole numbers, and hopefully 9x minus 6 equals 10 is something that you can really easily solve, right? I'm solving for x, so I'm trying to get everything away from that x so I can get it by itself. First, I add the 6 because it's crossing the equal sign. 10 plus 6 is 16. Then I'm going to divide by 9. So my answer is going to be a fraction, and I'm okay with that. I started with fractions. It's okay that I end up with fractions. But it's nice that I can get a fractional answer down here, x equals 16 over 9, without having to have changed everything into a fraction and remembered how to subtract with fractions and kind of all of that stuff. Hopefully you'll look at it and think it's easier too. Let's look at another example over here. So here in this one, 3/5 x minus 7/10 equals -4 plus 7/15 x. Don't want to forget the x on there. this is the same thing. I've got three fractions right here. I have 5, 10, and 15 as my denominators. The least common denominator for these guys is going to be 30. 5 goes into 30, 10 goes into 30, and so does 15. So again, I'm going to come over here and kind of do some math. 3/5 times 30, I can cross cancel. That's going to be 18. 10ths times 30 over 1. Again, I can cross cancel. That'll be 21. And then 7/15 times 30. 15 goes into 32 times, so that's going to be 14. I kind of ran off the side there. So I'm going to rewrite everything, right? Because I'm going to take this whole thing and times it by 30. 3/5 is going to be 18x. Maybe I'll do this in a different color. So this is going to be 18x minus 7/10 is turning into 21. And that equals, ooh, I forgot about the -4. He still is going to get, because this got distributed to everything, he's still going to get times by 30. So that's going to be a -120. I feel like I need to move these guys over just so, oh. So that's going to be 120, -120. And then that's 7/15 turns into 14x. This is kind of my scribbling off on the side there. This is my equation thing right here. So again, I'm trying to figure out what the x is. I'm going to start by combining these guys. Oh, it's so nice that I don't have any fractions to left that I have to deal with. I'm going to move that 14 over by subtracting. 18x minus 14x is 4x minus 21 equals, -120. Add the 21 because it's crossing the equals sign. That gets rid of it there. -120, that's a -120, plus 21 is a -99. That equals 4x. I want to get the x by itself by dividing by 4. So after all of that, x is going to equal -99. Oh, I'm running out of room. Divided by 4. So that's what x is going to equal. Again, I come up with a fraction, but that's okay because I got rid of all the fractions. And so it makes sense that I would end up with a fractional answer. Good luck. Let me know how it goes.